Good evening, I'm Adrienne Arsenault.
And I'm Andrew Chang. Tonight, how a police officer with a history of serious disciplinary issues was allowed to stay on the job and the violence that came after.
It's a complete crisis of legitimacy.
A Fifth Estate investigation reveals new details about the day one Ontario officer shot another.
New video from the assault on the Capitol. The Democrats lay out their case against the man they call the insider-in-chief.
Will provinces cancel March break? Parents and teachers have something to say about that idea.
Plus, having trouble recognizing people in masks? You are not the only one.
Oh my God, this one is brutal. Dr. Freud, this is impossible.
How the pandemic might be rewiring our brains when it comes to how we see each other. This is The National. Tonight, new details on a bizarre police shooting where another officer was the person shot.
And what it says about police accountability at a time when conduct and use of force are under intense scrutiny.
In late 2018, Constable Nathan Parker, a 30-year veteran with recorded disciplinary issues, was guarding a collision scene. He got into an argument with his senior officer, which escalated to violence. Parker was shot multiple times, but he is the one now facing charges.
Now, a new Fifth Estate investigation uncovers the story behind this strange incident and the questions it raises about officers with serious disciplinary records staying on the job. Here's the Fifth Estate co-host, Mark Kelly.
It was here on these rolling back roads where a Niagara Regional Police officer was shot 10 times by his commanding officer.
And at that point, you just think, what? How? What the hell happened?
Nathan Parker, a 30-year police veteran, survived. But after an investigation by the Ontario Provincial Police, Parker was the one criminally charged. The shooter, Detective Sergeant Shane Donovan, says he shot Parker after an altercation, fearing for his life. An investigation by the Fifth Estate revealed Parker's troubling disciplinary history. 3 convictions under the Police Services Act after violent interactions with members of the public. So why then was he still on the job the day of that gunfight with a fellow officer? Like many police departments across Canada, Niagara Regional Police don't make their officers' disciplinary records public. Police police themselves, largely in secret. Lawyer Margaret Hoy says that secrecy erodes police accountability.
It's obviously a message that doesn't matter. You can do what you want.
An Ontario review of police oversight in 2017 recommended police disciplinary hearings be handled by independent bodies with all decisions made public.
It's too important. It's too important for public confidence. And, you know, it's a civilian police force. It relies on public confidence. There are calls to defund the police. It's a complete crisis of legitimacy.
Okay, so Mark, this particular story is focused on an Ontario jurisdiction, but the issue, of course, has implications for policing across the country. Have there been any moves towards making disciplinary records public?
Well, Alberta's Justice Minister is on the record saying he supports the idea of making police officers' disciplinary decisions public. And if Alberta does go that route, Andrew, it would be a first in Canada.
And what is the latest with the Nathan Parker case? Yeah,
he's scheduled for his criminal trial in September. And as for the man who shot him, Shane Donovan, he's now suing Parker and Niagara Regional Police for $2 million, saying they failed to properly discipline Parker when they knew he was violent. Parker has yet to file a defense.
Okay, we'll be watching. Mark, thank you very much.
Thanks.
And for the whole story, watch Policing the Police on the Fifth Estate tomorrow night. That's Thursday, starting at 9 p.m., 9:30 in Newfoundland on CBC Television and CBC Gem.
Turning to Washington now and the Senate impeachment trial, where the case against Donald Trump is being laid out in excruciating detail. The violence of January 6th relived moment by moment. Surveillance video is being made public for the first time, and it's being used to show the terrifying moments of the riot from the inside. Senior correspondent Susan Ormiston joins us now from the U.S. Capitol. So, Susan, can you walk us through, another day of history?
Another day, a critical day in the impeachment trial, Adrian. The Democrats presented a cogent case, a relentless narrative tying Donald Trump to those riots, and today reminding senators viscerally of the fear they experienced right here on that day.
Capital entry, multiple capital entries. 350, give me DSO up here now, DSO.
Donald Trump sent them to Capitol Hill, say the prosecutors, to fight like hell, and they did. Police overrun. Releasing new audio and police body cam video, Democrats laid out their case chillingly that the Capitol Hill attack was premeditated. The rioters spurred on by the inciter-in-chief, Donald Trump.
They truly believed that they were doing this for him, that this was their patriotic duty.
In new evidence, silent surveillance video, a Capitol Hill officer diverts the mob away from a Senate door. Here, the same officer warns Senator Mitt Romney to run from danger. The prosecution detailed threats to Vice President Mike Pence, whom Trump had turned on. With the mob 100 feet away, the vice president and his family are quickly evacuated out of the Senate chamber.
Where are you, Nancy? We're looking for you.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was another target. Her staff ran into hiding just before rioters swarmed into her office area, pounding on their door, and menacing tweets.
Crazy Nancy probably would have been torn into little pieces, but she was nowhere to be seen.
Crazy Nancy, Trump's favorite nickname for Pelosi.
The first and second in line to the presidency, President Trump put a target on their backs, and his mob broke into the Capitol to hunt them down.
But as disturbing as the videos are, Democrats had to convince senators Trump primed the violence months in advance.
We are going to keep on fighting.
We will never surrender. We will only win. Now is not the time to retreat. Now is the time to fight harder.
His cavalry. This was deliberate.
So, Susan, how is it all landing?
Well, if anything today, Adrian, this was a forensic accounting for all Americans of everything that happened today, all the nooks and crannies, the chronology, the hidden corners, and it was a graphic view that perhaps was more threatening than they'd even imagined.
But I guess the crucial thing is that they have to make that link with Trump, that he ordered it.
Yeah, indeed, and the Republicans are unified on one thing, that the Trump legal team has to get much better, and they're apparently assembling their own audio-visual package to present perhaps as early as tomorrow. But you know, all of this may not convince enough senators on the Republican side to convict Trump. Probably not. I mean, after all, they're thinking this may look bad, but we don't have to eject him from office. He already is.
All right, Susan Ormiston at the U.S. Capitol tonight. Thanks, Susan. A prominent Saudi women's rights activist with ties to Canada was released from prison in Saudi Arabia today after 1,001 days in custody. Loujain Alhathloul's sister posted this on Twitter, showing the University of British Columbia grad finally at home. She'd been sentenced to nearly 6 years for her outspoken advocacy, her determination for women to earn the right to drive. For that, she was charged with pursuing a foreign agenda and agitating for change. Her release comes with restrictions on travel and talking about her ordeal, but this is a start. And for those pushing for the release of more activists, the hope is it's a beginning, perhaps a response to a Biden administration that vows to reevaluate the relationship with Saudi Arabia.
A CBC News exclusive has gotten Iran's attention. It involves a recording of a man identified as Iran's foreign minister contradicting his own government by saying the downing of Flight 752 could have been intentional and that the truth of the matter would never be clear. Ashley Burke has the reaction from the families of loved ones still looking for answers and the response from Tehran.
On the anniversary of the Islamic Revolution, a day when Iran's leadership is typically focused on celebration, officials push back against the CBC and the Canadian government. A spokesperson for Iran's foreign ministry issuing a statement in Farsi claiming the allegations made in CBC's article are incorrect and baseless. The claim of the existence of such a tape is not true. We advise the government of Canada to act professionally instead of its own fruitless sensationalism. Sources identified Iran's Minister of Foreign Affairs on the recording, saying privately the shooting down of the plane could have been an intentional act, perhaps by 2 or 3 infiltrators, among other possibilities. But Iran's highest levels of government and military would never reveal the truth. He said they won't tell us nor anyone else. Today, Iran's foreign minister himself tweeted, following Flight PS752 tragedy, I and many others insisted all possibilities, including foreign infiltration or electronic interference, must be investigated, fake audio notwithstanding. Human error was finally judged as cause.
The fact that the spokesperson for the foreign minister denies that the audio even exists when we were able to listen to it is also not surprising, in the sense that the government of the Islamic Republic considers that it lives in its own reality, it has its own facts.
Canada remains in a difficult situation, no diplomatic ties and little leverage.
So where we should go to see these perpetrators in a crime, they are laughing at us.
Hamid Ismailian's wife and daughter died on the plane. He speaks for a group of victims' families.
You feel desperate. 13 months passed, no investigation, no truth, and no justice.
In a statement, the government said it's working to obtain justice and hold Iran to account. It confirms that authorities are still examining the recording with great care. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
To COVID-19 now. Tonight, we have developments on 2 vaccines that Canada has invested in, Pfizer and AstraZeneca. Those developments critical for the fight against COVID-19. Now, no one is sure exactly when herd immunity will kick in, but many scientists say at least 70% of the population needs to be vaccinated. The number of Canadians who've received the recommended 2 doses of vaccine, that's less than 1% of the population. If we include those who've received just a single dose, it's a little better, around 2.5%. So there is a long way to go. One shot may not be enough, but Lauren Pelly dug into some new research that gives us the clearest picture yet of what a single dose of Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine can do. And the news is encouraging.
In Israel, millions have been given at least 1 vaccine dose thanks to the country's massive purchasing program.
It feels good. I feel lucky.
And illnesses and deaths among older adults are quickly dropping.
Last week was the first week where we can say with confidence that we began to see the effect of the vaccines on the national pandemic numbers.
The country's rapid vaccination campaign is also giving scientists real-world data. A new study from Israeli researchers suggests 1 vaccine could curb virus transmission from just a single dose.
People who were vaccinated with the Pfizer-BioNTech shot and got infected had less of the virus in their system, suggesting it could be harder for vaccinated people to spread it to someone else. Our results show that infections occurring 12 days or longer following vaccination have significantly reduced viral loads, the research team wrote, potentially affecting viral shedding.
It basically means that it's much less likely for people to be contagious.
Canadian vaccine experts say that would make this shot a key tool for getting transmission under control.
And it means that, as more and more people get vaccinated, it doesn't just provide protection to the individual, but it really helps provide protection to those around them.
The not yet published study involved only a few thousand people, and scientists want broader research to replicate these early findings before drawing any firm conclusions.
I think this is promising evidence. The data needs to be reviewed by experts.
It doesn't answer all the questions, but it starts to tell us that there actually might be some added benefit to these vaccines beyond just reducing severe disease.
That's offering what many are searching for in this pandemic, a bit of hope. Lauren Pelly, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, the AstraZeneca vaccine is the next one up in the pipeline of Health Canada approvals. It's had a few setbacks, questions raised about its efficacy, but as Christine Burak explains today, the World Health Organization made clear where it stands.
They've reviewed all the data. Scientists with the World Health Organization now say Oxford AstraZeneca's vaccine is safe and effective for all adults.
Certainly, the benefits, will far outweigh the risks.
While AstraZeneca's phase 3 trials didn't include many seniors, the UK is rolling out over 500,000 doses. So far, data shows the vaccine is prompting a good immune response in older people.
Don't compare and wait for something better to come along.
The WHO is now recommending AstraZeneca's vaccine be given to anyone age 18 and up, and it can be used in countries battling new variants, including South Africa, which recently suspended its use after a small study found the vaccine didn't prevent mild to moderate illness from the variant. But
we have an absence of evidence from that trial about whether or not the AZ product has efficacy against severe disease.
Severe disease is key. It's what lands people in intensive care units and ultimately kills people. The WHO says AstraZeneca's data shows no vaccinated persons were hospitalized 22 days after the first dose.
I think the AstraZeneca vaccine is probably the one where we've done the most studies, where we know the most.
Members of Canada's vaccine task force say AstraZeneca's efficacy does appear to be lower, but unlike Pfizer and Moderna, it's been tested in places with variants.
If they told me that's the one I'm going to get, I would take it.
If Health Canada approves Oxford AstraZeneca's vaccine, 20 million doses could be arriving sooner than later. But experts insist no vaccine is 100% protective. And until the majority of Canadians are vaccinated, public health measures should remain in place. Christine Birak, CBC News, Toronto.
The federal government is promising to spend nearly $15 billion on public transit over the next 8 years.
We need efficient and modern public transit systems that make our communities more connected.
Trudeau says the money could go to anything from subway extensions to cycling pathways, and he says it is crucial as Canada looks to jumpstart the economy and fight climate change. While some of the funds will kick in this year, most of it will not start flowing until 2026. A COVID surge in Newfoundland and Labrador is raising concerns about this Saturday's provincial election. As Chris O'Neill-Yates tells us, this comes after the province detected a record 53 new cases today, and that triggered new restrictions.
Here we are with the big one.
The disappointment is written all over Dr. Janice Fitzgerald's face. This is the exact scenario the province's chief medical officer of health had been warning about.
I believe that going so long with low case counts of COVID led to complacency.
The outbreak originated in this high school. Fitzgerald says transmission spread through schools and sports teams and then to households. Many people with symptoms put off being tested.
It's very tense. People are really worried about what's happening in the community.
Traffic clogged the city's main streets as people scrambled to get tested. Hundreds are under quarantine. All the K-12 schools in the region are shut for 2 weeks to contain the spread.
We recognize, some of the fear and a little bit of the anger that's going around, and what we're asking people to do is just do what the health officials advise.
Politicians have suspended their door-to-door campaigns for Saturday's election. Progressive Conservative candidate Damien Follett's teenage son has tested positive for COVID-19. He doesn't know where his son contracted the virus.
We've all got too close to someone sometimes. It happens to me. Sometimes you forget.
The chief electoral officer says the election can proceed safely. Fitzgerald expects many more positive cases.
I don't expect that tomorrow will be lower than today.
In a tweet, opposition leader Chess Crosby said, "I am calling on the Premier and the Chief Electoral Officer to find a way to delay Election Day." The Liberal leader is defending the call.
Look, we made the election call with the best evidence available to us at the time. I don't believe altering legislation for political gain is an important instrument of democracy.
Public health officials are urging people to follow the rules to prevent the virus from spreading to other parts of the province. Chris O'Neill-Yates, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, just 2 days after the latest batch of Ontario students headed back into schools, the province is considering cancelling March break. But there is quite a bit of opposition to that idea. Katie Nicholson explains why.
Can you spell toward?
Doing homework with her boys, Colleen Whale looks calm.
but on the inside, she's pretty upset.
I am very angry that this is even a possibility. My children have been working very hard since September.
It's been a tough year. Hours of screen time and the shift to online learning, isolation from their peers, and now rampant speculation March break might be postponed.
They deserve this break. They are stressed. They have had a lot taken away from them in the last year, and I don't want their break to be taken away from them.
Whale is one of more than 21,000 Ontario parents who signed this petition, telling the Education Minister not to cancel March break. The government says it hasn't made any decisions yet, but the opposition is firmly pro-break.
People are exhausted, they're burnt out, and I think moving the March break will cause a lot of discomfort for those people who need that break.
But so far across Canada, the break is still cautiously a go, despite fears highly contagious new variants could spread to March breakers who travel or gather.
There are absolutely ways to do it safely, and I would prefer to see our attention focused on that communication and making people understand what March break would look like this year, rather than talking about canceling it.
Critics say canceling the break might disproportionately hurt those who couldn't afford to travel anywhere anyway.
For me, this is really just a conversation about between folks who are privileged.
Whatever the province decides, Colleen Whale has a plan.
To be honest, I plan on taking them out anyway.
Going rogue to give her kids a little R&R. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Toronto.
A pileup on British Columbia's infamous Coquihalla Highway has left at least one person dead and dozens injured.
There's big vehicles, small vehicles. It's just a whole melting pot of twisted steel down here.
A witness said about 20 vehicles were involved in a chain reaction crash on that icy highway just over 2 hours east of Vancouver. More than 30 people were hurt, 2 of them airlifted to hospital in critical condition. 3 others are considered serious but stable. Police say the road and weather conditions played huge parts in the crash.
Well, a new documentary about Britney Spears has sparked a conversation about the pop star's treatment over the decades. Coming up, the media frenzy, the money, and the movement to free Britney.
How we treated her was disgusting.
Also, are masks affecting the way we connect?
Dr. Freud, this is impossible.
As we struggle to identify each other, our brains change in some pretty surprising ways.
I am not going away, my shot. I am not going away, my shot.
And an Ontario school takes its shot at Hamilton. We're back in 2 minutes.
Hi, Britney. How you doing, sweetheart? Good to see you.
Well, that's Britney Spears. She went from America's sweetheart to a woman mercilessly mocked by the tabloids. For so many years, her personal crises played out in the public arena, so much of it fodder for the entertainment industry. Now, a new documentary is sparking a conversation about the media's treatment of the pop star and shining a very hard light on the legal arrangement that continues to control so many aspects of Spears' life. Deanna Sumanek-Johnson reports.
A new documentary framing Britney Spears wants to reframe how we talk and think about the singer.
She was so open and vulnerable. How we treated her was disgusting.
Britney had to navigate being told who she could be and what she could do.
Not too long ago, jokes made at Spears' expense were common.
She was this, sweet, innocent little girl in slutty clothes.
Even in the moments when she was evidently in distress. The documentary's reevaluation of this treatment was partly made possible by movements like Me Too, says this pop culture writer.
The Me Too movement has really changed how we handle celebrity and particularly famous women. And not just in how we talk about assault and harassment, and trauma, but just in how we view women and how we view their agencies.
What is less clear is what, if any, effect the documentary might have on Spears' legal battle to end her father's conservatorship over her business and personal affairs, something that the Free Britney movement has sought to end. And the documentary also questions, says this writer for Billboard magazine.
Here she is, apparently, not mentally capable of taking care of her own finances, and yet she's certainly able to pull off a top of the line show and work her ass off and do all these shows in a row.
Spears' response, shared on Instagram, was, "I'll always love being on stage, but I'm taking the time to learn and be a normal person," something she hasn't had a lot of chances to do in her 39 years. The next court hearing for her fight to regain power over her affairs is tomorrow. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
Coming up, they say the eyes are the window to the soul.
What's likely happening is that the mask is camouflaging either prominent features or asymmetrical features.
The unintended effect of covering half your face and how it might be rewiring our brains. But first,
having to work from home most of the time meant that I couldn't collaborate with my coworkers.
A new world rearranged by the pandemic. Our doctors give us tips on how to handle the stress of such a prolonged change. Next. Welcome back. We are almost a year, hard to believe it, into the pandemic. And with so much change and so much challenge, we've all had to deal with very different kinds and different amounts of stress. We asked why you're feeling stressed out right now, and you spoke up.
I am in New Brunswick, and my partner is in Ontario. And with all the added restrictions, it's quite difficult to see each other.
Securing a job within the engineering field is adding to my stress, and I'm not feeling okay about it.
I'm a disabled essential worker, and I'm really concerned about the disabled and elderly community right now.
I suffered a panic attack and went to the ER. Now I'm taking pills, practicing meditation, doing online therapy, but I still feel very hopeless.
It's hard to even think of the future when the next month seems so up in the air right now.
Yeah, okay, boy. So what impact is all of that stress having on us, and what can we do about it? Well, joining me now, Dr. Bal Pawa, a physician at a women's clinic in Vancouver, also an author, and Dr. Peter Selby, a senior medical consultant at the Centre for Addiction and Mental Health in Toronto. Hello to the both of you. Dr. Selby, can I ask you first, what are you hearing from your patients? Maybe not about what's stressing them out, but how difficult it is to cope with that stress.
I think the biggest issue is isolation and feeling dislocated. We have a huge opioid overdose happening out in the community where people are not necessarily achieving or getting into treatment, and it's been hard for them to get to treatment. On the other hand, we have people who've been in recovery and are relapsing because now they're in isolation and they have access, for example, to alcohol or their cigarettes or cannabis, and nothing else to do, no restraints on them. And so that's the range of things that people are finding. And of course, then the added stresses of loss, grief, loss of job, worry about finances. All of those additional stressors add to the risk of relapse. And again, then the services that they relied on are not necessarily available to them.
Right. Dr. Pawa, you specialize in women's health, where we know the stressors are different. What are your patients telling you?
Well, first of all, Andrew, most men and women are equipped to deal with acute stress. But now, as you know, going into the second year, this has become chronic stress. And chronic stress wreaks havoc in both men and women. But for women, there is a differential. Women are, I talk to women every day, and they say they're feeling this profound sense of grief, sadness of the life they knew. They feel uncertain about the future economically. I mean, if you look at the majority of the minimum wage earners are women. If you look at the fact that women do a big portion of the household chores with cooking and laundry and doing home care for the kids or elderly. So women are feeling the differential and the stress of panic, and stress shows up in women's body a little bit differently as well because of the menstrual cycle and how our hormones are very connected. So stress hormones wreak havoc with female reproductive hormones as well.
And that's something that sometimes does get lost in the conversation, right? That we think of stress as being a mental, a psychological, and emotional thing, but it's also, as you're pointing out, a very physical thing.
Yes, the psychological state of a human being is very intricately connected with the physical state. So if you look at the 75% of the physical symptoms that we see in a doctor's office can be attributed to excessive, prolonged stress hormones, that's an astonishing figure. And stress can show up in different ways, Andrew. So physically, people may not connect that their heartburn is related to stress, or their asthma attacks are increased because of stress, or their irritable bowel syndrome. So a lot of physical symptoms show up, but people don't make the connection often that it is due to stress.
Right. So the million-dollar question is what to do about it. Dr. Selby, you know, I remember early on in the pandemic speaking with a pediatrician in a story about parenting, and she was telling me, I'll never forget this, nobody's perfect in a pandemic. And those words really stuck with me. I never forgot those. What is the takeaway that you would give folks who are listening right now who are dealing with stress?
So I say be kind to yourself and the others around you. And when people are having a bad day, you're having a bad day. And make sure you have your social circle around you, either electronically or otherwise. But make sure you take the time to be connected to others. Make sure you take time to take care of self, whether it's eating, sleeping, physical activity. And then pay attention. If it's crossing that threshold, the health system is actually open for those kinds of things. So if you are getting to the point of despondency or significant clinical depression or anxiety disorders, there is help out there, and either go via your family doctor or your emergency room and get the help that you need.
And Dr. Paba, I want to hear from you as well on this. The best way to weather a storm that, as you reminded us, is a very long-lasting one.
We're in it for the long haul, and so we have to pace ourselves. And the people I see that are successful getting through the pandemic, they have maintained a routine. And it's really important to create a toolkit for yourself and say, well, what is working? Not what I can't do. I can't go to the gym. I can't do this. But what can you do? How can you show up differently? And being creative and working a little harder to find joy, to find meaning, to find gratitude, to find humor. But if your symptoms are severe and you have severe anxiety, severe depression, don't sit at home and suffer in silence.
I have to say, we could talk a lot longer about all of this, but I thank you for the time that you've given us tonight. Dr. Pawa, Dr. Selby, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for doing this.
And coming up, can you recognize faces behind all those masks? Scientists say we're not that good at it. We'll tell you why that matters. Plus,
I try and live by the last word she told me, and that's I'll try every day.
Art from Incredible Loss, a new project honoring untold stories. I'll show you what it's all about.
If you're working alone, wear a mask.
I'm not afraid to be seen standing up to these guys.
The mask's not for you. It's to protect the people you care about.
these days it's not just Batman wearing a mask to protect others. But you have to wonder, what were superheroes thinking all this time, covering their eyes to try to hide their identities? Was anyone ever fooled by that? Because at this point in the pandemic, it is pretty clear covering your nose and mouth is the key to going unrecognized. Masks make it tough to spot colleagues in a crowd. And after all this time, are we getting any better at it? Well, scientists are watching to see if our brains are rewiring themselves. And there's some odd news about all this mask wearing. Apparently, seeing each other in masks is starting to appeal. Grabbing a mask when you leave home may now feel like a habit. But our poor brains are still struggling to adapt because recognizing each other now is not going well.
It's like the biggest experiment in face perception that was ever done. Start memorizing the different faces.
Okay. For York University cognitive neuroscientist Erez Freud, whose life's work just happens to be studying how we look at and perceive each other, the The pandemic has turned the planet into his lab.
We started this investigation to understand how our social interactions, our social abilities are affected by this unprecedented time of the pandemic.
Freud has been watching how we watch others, sampling 500 people at a time around the world every few months, testing their facial recognition. Bottom line, masks reduce our ability to read faces by about 15%. What makes you think, though, that as time goes on, that we will rewire our brains?
So there are evidence from the face perception literature that shows that our brain can change and adapt and adjust, especially when we are young.
Oh my God, this one is brutal. Dr. Freud, this is impossible.
Wait, this is only the medium.
The test is a version of a famous Cambridge face memory test, which gradually adds more visual noise, changes the angles of faces, making it harder to pick out those you've briefly seen before. The mask complicates it all. And I feel like I'm not seeing the person, I'm just seeing positioning of eyebrows or something.
Okay, this is a great, I think, description of analytical or local processing.
This is the difference in our brains when we're masked. Unmasked facial recognition happens holistically first. The brain instantly computes the distances between the facial features. The masks make that holistic approach just not possible. So we zero in on features we can see and we perceive them individually. Those, it turns out, who are normally really good at recognizing faces, taking them all in, struggle a lot now.
Face perception is probably the most important visual ability that we have. We use face information not only to identify each other, but also to determine the emotion, gender, even intention.
And so, if we're struggling, then Freud is curious about the consequences. What does this mean, for example, for the development of infants who may only see the whole faces of their immediate family right now? And then there's the elderly. They are already so vulnerable.
Older ages, face perception abilities are impaired to begin with. So I can't imagine how they feel now with the masks on and the isolation. We know for older adults who have difficulties in visual perception suffer or report more on anxiety, social phobia, depression.
So yes, there's anxiety about masks, but also, strangely, there's something apparently appealing about them. Researchers in the US asked participants to rate the attractiveness of a cross-section of people with and without masks. They found roughly 70% of reportedly average-looking people were rated as more attractive when wearing a mask.
It impacts the way others see us and how they treat us.
Clinical psychologist David Sarwar has a few theories on that.
What's likely happening is that the mask is camouflaging either prominent features or asymmetrical features of the lower face.
And quite possibly all that conditioning about eyes being the window to the soul has embedded itself.
We're taught when we're talking to somebody to look them right in the eyes. So it's probably we're probably seeing part of that socialization effect, as well as some ingrained biology that's leading us to be attracted to people's eyes.
There's another theory. Is it possible to wear a mask seen as a virtuous act? Is it possible that will increase attractiveness?
It's possible. So if someone sees mask as something which is very positive and very important, as I do, then I admire and I think highly about people who wear masks. And maybe it affects my perception of those individuals.
So that's the good news, but identifying each other, assessing people's moods from a look is a real test right now. And speaking of tests, so a little afraid to ask, how much of a disaster is this?
You can see here your results. And so your score for the upright faces was 62, and the average is around 52. So you're doing quite good.
The test, which Freud will keep repeating, is tricky enough, but real life even more so. Because the more impaired we are at really seeing each other, the harder we're going to have to work to really connect.
We need to be more attentive to other people and even take into account the fact that they might not recognize us.
Nearly a year in, the pandemic is asking of us what it did at the beginning. patience.
So at the end of the day, with time, these scientists think that our brains will get better at adapting to all of
They
this?
do. I mean, let's hope we don't have to wait very long.
Right. Yeah.
But that is the expectation. It's not just us that are struggling, though. Artificial intelligence is having a problem. You add masks, and the algorithms that that used to be pretty good are suddenly getting it wrong maybe 50% of the time. And so as the months go on, the AI is getting better, and we're getting there.
Wow. Okay, very interesting. Okay, still to come. An Ontario school takes a shot and gets noticed.
We gotta rise up, it's time to take a shot.
The ensemble that got the attention of Alexander Hamilton. But first,
We Dance for Life, a project of remembrance and love. That's next.
I'm Jamie Poisson, and tomorrow on CBC's daily news podcast Front Burner, kids are going back to school in Ontario as part of a general reopening trend after lockdown. With variants on the rise, how do you keep them safe? Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
a California officer has dropped his lawsuit against Toronto Raptors president Masai Ujiri. It stemmed from an altercation at the 2019 NBA Finals. Videos showed the deputy preventing Ujiri from accessing the court to celebrate the championship. Ujiri later filed a countersuit alleging unauthorized use of force. That has also been dropped. Well, there's a new project to raise awareness of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, giving voice to those who haven't shared their stories before. Here's Olivia Stefanovic on the campaign that's connecting families with artists to help honor their loved ones.
To all Canadians.
When the Prime Minister accepted the final report into missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, Justin Trudeau held the culmination of hundreds of stories, detailing the suffering and resilience of their families.
I thank them, all of them, for their courage.
But the closing ceremonies didn't mark the end of the tragedy. Margaret Bird's mom, Happy Charles, disappeared during the inquiry. Bird didn't have a chance to testify.
I try and live by the last words she told me, and I'll try every day.
Those words sent Bird on a quest to find another way to honor her mother, a search that's led to a new project focused on the untold stories of the inquiry. For Bird, it's about her mom.
She would always teach us to be kind and to forgive.
We Dance for Life is an Indigenous-led campaign connecting approximately 180 family members with artists.
These are flowers here.
They will be creating pieces of art over the coming months to remember their loved ones and document their experiences with loss.
It's also very important that we do it during this time as well because people are isolated.
We Dance for Life is one of more than 100 projects being launched through a $13 million commemoration fund from Ottawa, set up after the inquiry ended to support relatives of the missing and murdered.
The families and survivors will continue to have a voice.
If public health measures allow, the families will gather this summer in ceremony to finish their artwork. The pieces will then be toured across the country, raising awareness and immortalizing their loved ones. Olivia Stefanovic, CBC News, Ottawa.
Next on The National, a Toronto school gets its shot at fame.
You're not going away, my shot. I'm not going away, my shot.
The students and the teacher behind this catchy song, next in our moment. So, if you are a fan of the musical Hamilton, this song might be familiar to you, except this version is by a group of students at a Toronto high school. And their teacher posted their rendition on social media. The song then got noticed. Tonight, the story behind it is our moment.
So this was with our concert strings class. So we did this all in December before we were online again for a while. And then Jamal recorded his part from home.
I've actually been a fan of Hamilton since I was in grade 7. So it really just came as if it was second nature.
I'm a diamond in the rough, a shiny piece of coal, trying to reach my goal, my power of speech unimpeachable.
I noticed it on Twitter first. I had all these notifications. They also posted it on their Instagram and on their Facebook page. So I couldn't believe it. I was just so happy.
I jumped for joy. I screamed so loud that the musical I've been following for so long, like, noticed me.
Time to take a shot, and I am not throwing away my shot.
It was such a amazing feeling. Like, I was so happy. Like, I was already having a good week, and that just added onto it. Like, I was over the moon with happiness.
Yeah, and I don't think those amazing feelings are ending anytime soon, because like one thing just snowballs into the next. So they got noticed by the production. Apparently one of the original Broadway violinists has also actually seen this video and now has gotten in touch with the teacher to visit the class and wants to speak. It's pretty cool.
It's not going to end soon. And interestingly, Jamal told our producer that, you know, he was fine when he was doing it, but now that it's getting attention, now is when the nerves are arriving. That is a national for February the 10th. Good night.
Good night.